These days it feels like everyone is on some kind of diet. Keto, paleo, intermittent fasting, juice cleanses, you name it, someone's tried it. I've seen friends jump from one trend to the next, hoping for that magic fix. Social media is full of before and after photos, wild claims, and endless debates about which diet is best. It's honestly overwhelming. You walk into a kitchen, and there's always someone talking about the latest thing they're trying, cutting carbs, counting macros, or swearing off sugar for good. Even at work, lunchtime turns into a mini nutrition seminar, with people swapping tips and sharing their struggles. It's like we're all searching for the secret to feeling better, looking better, and maybe even living longer. But with so many options, how do you know what actually works? Is there a way to eat that doesn't feel like punishment, but still makes a real difference? That's the question I kept asking myself, and it's what led me to try something a little different. What if, instead of following some extreme plan or cutting out entire food groups, you just ate a little smarter? Not less food, not bland food, but food that actually works with your body instead of against it. Imagine going to the grocery store and not feeling lost in a sea of confusing labels and health claims. What if you could make choices that left you feeling satisfied, energized, and maybe even a little proud of yourself? That's the idea behind low-glycemic eating. It's not about starving yourself or obsessing over every calorie, it's about understanding how different foods affect your blood sugar, and making swaps that keep you feeling steady all day long. I decided to give it a shot, not because I wanted to lose a ton of weight overnight, but because I was tired of the roller coaster. The energy crashes, the cravings, the guilt after eating something bad. I wanted to see if eating smarter, not less, could actually make a difference in just a few days. So here's what happened when I committed to 3 days of low-glycemic eating. I cleared out my kitchen, stocked up on whole grains, beans, fresh fruits, and veggies, and got ready to see what all the fuss was about. I'll be honest, I was a little nervous. Would I be hungry all the time? Would I miss my favorite treats? Or would I actually feel better like all those articles promised? I decided to document everything, what I ate, how I felt, and whether it was something I could actually stick with. Spoiler alert, the results surprised me and they might surprise you too. Day 1, and I'm honestly excited. There's something about starting a new routine that feels hopeful, like you're finally taking control. For breakfast, I went with a classic, oatmeal. Not the instant kind loaded with sugar, but real old-fashioned oats. I added a handful of berries and a sprinkle of cinnamon, simple, filling, and surprisingly delicious. Lunch was a hearty bowl of lentil soup, packed with veggies and spices. It was warm, comforting, and kept me full for hours. Instead of reaching for cookies in the afternoon, I grabbed a crisp apple. It wasn't the same as a gooey chocolate chip cookie, but it hit the spot. Throughout the day, I focused on choosing foods that wouldn't spike my blood sugar. Whole grains, beans, fruits, and lots of veggies. I paid attention to how I felt after each meal, and I was surprised by how steady my energy was. No mid-morning slump, no desperate need for coffee at 3 p.m. I felt good. Not deprived, not cranky, just good. But let's be real, old habits die hard. As I walked past my favorite bakery on the way home, the smell of fresh donuts was almost too much to resist. I found myself staring longingly at the display, remembering how good they taste with a hot cup of coffee. For a moment I almost caved, but then I thought about how I'd felt all day, steady, satisfied, and proud of myself for sticking to my plan. I reminded myself that this wasn't about never having a treat again, but about making better choices most of the time. So I kept walking. No sugar spikes, no guilt, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss my donuts. Change is hard, especially when it comes to food. But I was determined to see this through, at least for a few days. By day 2, I started to notice some real changes. Normally I hit a wall in the afternoon, a wave of tiredness that makes it hard to focus or get anything done. But today, my energy was steady from morning to night. I powered through my to-do list, tackled projects I'd been putting off, and even had enough motivation to go for a walk after work. It wasn't just physical energy either. My mood was better, and I felt more patient, even when things got stressful. Of course, temptation was still everywhere. At the office, someone brought in a box of bagels, and I caught myself eyeing them more than once. But I reminded myself why I was doing this, not to punish myself, but to see if I could feel better by making smarter choices. I grabbed a handful of nuts and some fruit instead, and honestly, it was enough. I didn't feel deprived, just different. And that was a good thing. Here's a pro tip I wish I'd known sooner. Roasted chickpeas are way better than they sound. Seriously. I'd always thought of chickpeas as something you throw in a salad or blend into hummus, but roasting them with a little olive oil and your favorite spices turns them into a crunchy, satisfying snack. They're packed with protein and fiber, so they actually keep you full, and you can season them any way you like. Spicy, savory, even a little sweet. I made a big batch and kept them on hand for when cravings hit. It was a game changer. Instead of reaching for chips or cookies, I had something tasty and healthy to munch on. It made sticking to the low-glycemic plan so much easier, and I didn't feel like I was missing out. By day 3, something unexpected happened. I felt full. Not just physically, but mentally. I wasn't thinking about food all the time, or counting down the minutes until my next meal. I ate when I was hungry, stopped when I was satisfied, and didn't feel the urge to snack constantly. My mood was better too. I wasn't cranky or irritable, even when things got busy. I felt calm, focused, and in control. It was a weirdly good feeling, and it made me realize how much my old eating habits had affected my mood and energy. I started to look forward to meals, not because I was starving, but because I knew they'd leave me feeling good. It was a small shift, but it made a big difference. One of the biggest changes I noticed was in my brain. The fog that usually settled in by mid-afternoon was gone. I could focus on my work, remember details, and actually finish what I started. I felt sharper, more creative, and less distracted. It was like someone had turned up the brightness in my mind. I started getting more done in less time, and I even had energy left over for hobbies and time with friends. It made me realize how much my old eating habits had been holding me back. I wasn't just fueling my body, I was fueling my brain too, and the difference was incredible. Did I suddenly become a superhero? Not exactly. I didn't wake up with six-pack abs or the ability to leap tall buildings in a single bound, but I did feel stronger, more confident, and more in control of my choices. It wasn't about perfection or willpower, it was about making small changes that added up to a big difference. I realized that I didn't have to overhaul my entire life to feel better. Just a few smart swaps, a little planning, and a willingness to try new things was enough to see real results. It was empowering, and it made me want to keep going. One of the simplest changes I made was swapping white bread for whole grain. It sounds basic, but it made a huge difference. Whole grain bread is packed with fiber, which helps slow down the absorption of sugar and keeps you feeling full longer. It also has more vitamins and minerals than white bread, so you're getting more nutrition in every bite. I started making sandwiches with whole grain bread, and I noticed that I didn't get hungry as quickly. I also felt more satisfied after meals, and I didn't crave sweets as much. It was a small change, but it had a big impact. Sometimes the simplest swaps are the most powerful. Honestly, low-glycemic eating isn't magic. It's not a quick fix or a miracle cure, but it's also not torture. You don't have to give up everything you love or eat bland, boring food. You can still enjoy delicious meals, try new recipes, and even have treats once in a while. The key is balance, making smarter choices most of the time and not beating yourself up when you slip. I found that I actually enjoyed my meals more because I knew they were nourishing my body and helping me feel my best. I felt more relaxed around food and I stopped obsessing over every bite. It was a relief and it made eating fun again. You don't have to be perfect to see results. Even small changes can make a big difference. Swapping white rice for brown rice, adding beans to your salad, choosing sweet potatoes instead of fries. These little tweaks add up over time. I started experimenting with new recipes, trying different grains and adding more veggies to my meals. It was fun to get creative in the kitchen and I discovered a lot of new foods I actually liked. The best part? I didn't feel like I was missing out. I still enjoyed my favorite flavors, but in a way that left me feeling good, not guilty. It was all about progress, not perfection. Would I stick with low-glycemic eating forever? Maybe not every single meal, but I can definitely see myself making these choices more often. My donut cravings haven't disappeared completely, but they're not as intense as they used to be. I've learned that I can enjoy treats in moderation without letting them derail my progress. It's all about balance, making healthy choices most of the time, and allowing yourself to indulge once in a while. I feel more in control of my cravings, and I don't feel like food is running my life. It's a good feeling and it makes me want to keep going. If you're curious about low-glycemic eating, I encourage you to give it a try for a few days. You might be surprised by how good you feel. You don't have to do it perfectly, and you don't have to give up everything you love. Just make a few smart swaps, pay attention to how you feel, and see what happens. You might discover new foods you love, new recipes to try, and a new sense of confidence in your choices. Eating well doesn't have to be hard or boring. It can be fun, delicious, and empowering. So why not give it a shot? You might just surprise yourself like I did. If you're ready to start, here are a few tips that help me. First, plan your meals ahead of time. It's so much easier to make healthy choices when you have good options ready to go. Spend a little time each week prepping ingredients, chopping veggies, and cooking grains or beans in advance. Keep healthy snacks on hand like roasted chickpeas, cut up fruit, or nuts. Make a grocery list before you shop and stick to the outer aisles where the fresh foods are. Don't be afraid to try new things. Experiment with different grains, beans, and veggies until you find what you like. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. Change takes time, and it's okay to slip up. What matters is that you keep going, one meal at a time. Looking back on my 3 days of low-glycemic eating, I'm proud of what I accomplished. I learned a lot about myself, my habits, and what my body needs to feel its best. I realized that food isn't just fuel, it's a way to take care of yourself, to show yourself respect and kindness. I felt more connected to my body, more in tune with my hunger and fullness cues, and more confident in my choices. It wasn't always easy, but it was worth it. I'm excited to keep exploring, to keep learning, and to keep making choices that help me feel my best. If I can do it, you can too. If you decide to try low-glycemic eating, share your journey with others, talk to friends, join a support group, or post about your experience online. You might inspire someone else to make a positive change, and you'll have a community to cheer you on. Remember, you're not alone. There are millions of people out there trying to eat better, feel better, and live better. Together we can support each other, share tips and recipes, and celebrate our successes. Eating well is a journey, not a destination, and every step counts. Finally, don't forget to celebrate your progress. Whether it's feeling more energetic, sleeping better, or just making it through a tough day without giving in to cravings, every victory matters. Take photos, write down your achievements, and remind yourself how far you've come. Be proud of yourself for trying something new, for taking care of your body, and for making choices that help you feel your best. You deserve to feel good, and you have the power to make it happen. One meal, one day, one choice at a time. So, that's my story. 3 days on a low-glycemic diet, and the surprising results I experienced. It wasn't always easy, but it was worth it. I feel better, I have more energy, and I'm excited to keep going. If you're thinking about making a change, I hope my story inspires you to give it a try. Remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to start. Who knows? You might surprise yourself, just like I did. Thanks for watching, and here's to feeling your best, one bite at a time.